you're thinking about a product launch, first thing I would ask is it the right time to do a product launch? So if your product isn't figured out, if you can't fill the orders, now is not the right time to be on TechCrunch, in my opinion, or in any other major media outlet. Once you're in a major media outlet, they're not going to cover you again for some period of time or ever. If you're in the business section of the New York Times, they're not going to cover you 4 weeks later when your product is better and you're ready. So make sure that you pick your timing. A few things. So there's paid exposure and unpaid exposure. I like to focus on unpaid because it forces you to make better decisions in the beginning. So I would read, as I always say, The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, 1,000 True Fans, written by Kevin Kelly. I would also read best-selling book PR and Publicity, I think it is, by Rick Frischman, Frishman. All of the techniques apply to more than books. And learn to tell the story. What are you focusing on? Are you using yourself to tell the story and then the product is associated? Is it a trend piece? Are you trying to tie what you're doing into a greater trend, which is a very effective way of getting media? In which case you're going to need other examples. You need to get comfortable with bringing in sort of cooperative competitors to create that trend piece. Learn the art of the pitch and of messaging. Only once you have figured that out would I say then you go out and you pay to acquire people. Because now if your messaging is off, it's costing you money. I think Kickstarter is amazing. I think it's an incredible company. If you can use it as a point of leverage, fantastic. You'll learn very quickly if your product has any appeal. You will learn very quickly if you have the ability to sell the company and fundraise. And if you don't have any of those things, you probably should either change direction, choose a different product, or not go headfirst into being an entrepreneur. Okay, yeah. You need to be able to sell. Whether it's Kickstarter, whether it's New York Times, whether it's your local newspaper, you need to be able to communicate effectively and sell, which is why when entrepreneurs ask me for books to read outside of business books, I say On Writing Well, Bird by Bird, all books on writing, improving communication. David Ogilvy on advertising. Study print ads where you have very little space. I think those are all very, very effective. The best entrepreneurs I've ever met are all good communicators. It's perhaps one of the very few unifying factors. They're exceptional communicators. Practice is the only way to get better at communicating. And practicing speaking does not provide you generally with something to review later, which is why the written word is so powerful. Yeah. Writing is thought crystallized on a piece of paper that can then be reviewed. It's very difficult to do that with speech, which is why I recommend people focus on honing their skills in writing and take time to study good direct response ads. Take time to, for instance, maybe develop a swipe file. So one of the things that I did for years is anytime I bought something, I would identify the ad, the phone call, the print ad, the offer, whatever it was that made me decide to buy it, and I would either cut it out or record it, put it into Evernote, whatever it might be, and save it. So I had a record of everything that I bought and why I bought it. That's really cool. And then I could go back and review it, and I'd be like, oh, looks like I fell for this, this, and this. Not in a bad way, but it looks like this tipped me from or not interested to, yeah, I'll spend $550, $500, $5,000 on that. Yeah. I save all that. Everything that works in sales has been done already. You do not need to reinvent the wheel. So just keep track of the crap that you buy or the awesome stuff that you buy and decide, what was the trigger? What pushed me over the edge? And then just sell to people like you. That's what I do. It's really easy. People are like, who's your market? I'm like, well, I'm a 30-something SF-based tech-savvy male, so why don't I just sell to those people? It makes it a lot easier than trying to guess. What first-time entrepreneurs tend to miscalculate is everything. What I mean by that is optimism has a place, but I think even more so for the first-time entrepreneur, you need to be pragmatically pessimistic. What I mean by that is you need to define all of the worst-case scenarios in terms of financial loss, time loss, etc. Look at what you will learn if that happens and accept and come to terms with that before you ever start. If you don't do that and you go straight into battling the world trying to conquer the world with rose-colored glasses on, the first time you hit a major hiccup, you're going to become really demoralized and you will quit. So optimism, all that rah, 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 that's awesome. But you need to hope for the best and prepare for the worst before you ever get started. I always recommend that.